Vegeta lets out a scream like none ever heard before. This is his new transformation, the result of 10 years of disappearance. The ground beneath his feet cracks, and the air turns into fiery whirlwinds. The angels watch with tense eyes, while the Grand Priest is furious after discovering that Vegeta betrayed him. Zeno and his guards stand expressionless, waiting for an explanation from Vegeta. As for the friends in the stands, their eyes shine with hope. Even though they believe Goku is dead, the flame hasn't gone out yet. Vegeta, the last one standing between light and darkness, between order and rebellion. The battle that will decide the fate of all universes has now begun. The atmosphere calmed, and silence took over. Gohan was lying on the ground because of the Grand Priest, and the priest's creation was still unconscious because of Gohan's attack. Vegeta remained the last hope. He walked with confident steps toward one target, the Grand Priest. With features that combined anger and disappointment, the Grand Priest said in a sharp voice, "What do you think you're doing, Vegeta? You've broken the oath. I thought you'd be a distinguished god of destruction to manage this universe. I trained you, gave you power, and now you use it against me? Is this the reward for the one who taught you and granted you glory?" Vegeta smirked with cold mockery. "Glory? You call your slavery glory? You were nothing but a maker of chains, but I broke them. I planted my plan in your shadow. I hid my identity to reach this moment. Your miserable system, ruled by fear, will not last." The Grand Priest replied with terrifying calm, "So you chose the path of betrayal yourself. Tell me, Vegeta, how will you purify existence when you haven't purified your own heart? Your heart is full of malice and treachery, and that will destroy you before it destroys anyone else." Vegeta laughed. "I don't need purity. I am purification itself. And if you don't know, then watch me now." Vegeta raised his hand to the side, as if aiming at another target far away from the Grand Priest. Breath froze for a moment. Then, shockingly, the Grand Priest's children, the angels, standing on the opposite side, realized they were the target. Vegeta smiled mockingly and spoke in a calm voice. "After your death, ask your children, Grand Priest. They will teach you what purification truly means." Vegeta charged his hand with immense energy, glowing and intertwined with dark light. The moment stunned everyone. Whis shouted from the stands, "Stop, Vegeta! Don't do this! This wasn't part of our agreement from the beginning!" But Vegeta didn't care. He unleashed a devastating attack toward the Grand Priest's children. The energy exploded like a fiery storm, striking them directly and burning them without mercy. None survived. They all fell as ashes before Vegeta's overwhelming power. The Grand Priest stared with wide, furious, shocked eyes, while Vegeta stood firm before him as if what he did was only the beginning. He said, "I will cleanse the rest of your corruption in my own way." At that moment, Zeno grew angry and shouted, "Grand Priest, this person is violating the limits of the system. I want an explanation for what is happening here." The Grand Priest replied with a trembling voice, trying to keep his composure. "Lord Zeno, please, allow me to handle this myself. There are mistakes I've made, and I must correct them with my own hands." Vegeta mocked, "Don't worry, you won't need to correct anything, because I will erase you along with your mistakes." The aura around Vegeta rose violently. Suddenly, he vanished as if time had stopped. He punched the Grand Priest directly in the face, a blow that shook the entire place. Vegeta smirked and said, "Oh, looks like I scared you more than I expected." The Grand Priest didn't respond. He only stared at Vegeta with frozen, expressionless eyes, like a statue. Vegeta gave him no chance and began a barrage of punches, each one stronger than the last, striking the Grand Priest's face repeatedly. Piccolo shouted in shock, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this!" Krillin said nervously, "Please someone tell me I'm dreaming. If Vegeta fails this time, we're finished for sure." After the intense series of blows, the Grand Priest fell to his knees, his face twisted and ruined from the punches. Vegeta smiled and said, "Real strength isn't in deception or controlling others. It's in facing the truth, and the truth has revealed your weakness now." But the Grand Priest stayed frozen, eyes blank, unmoving. This enraged Vegeta further. He raised his foot with force and delivered a powerful kick directly to the Grand Priest's face. The air trembled around them, and then the Grand Priest collapsed completely to the ground, motionless, utterly destroyed.
Vegeta laughed, an uncontrollable, hysterical laugh that erupted from the depths of his being. The air around him trembled from the echo of his madness. The friends were all stunned, unable to understand what was happening. Vegeta's wife stood torn between fear and joy, her emotions in complete conflict. Vegeta kept laughing endlessly until suddenly something strange caught his attention. A sound, a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat pounding against the chest of the entire world. Vegeta turned toward the source of the sound, and in that moment, the blood in his veins froze. There, in the sky, far above everyone, stood the Grand Priest, his full, unharmed body clapping slowly with a confident smile. Vegeta looked back at the ground in disbelief. The Grand Priest he had beaten was still lying there unconscious on the arena floor, but another version of him stood above them in the sky, motionless, smiling with impossible confidence. Everyone was stunned. Shock spread across the faces of the friends. No one could explain what they were witnessing. The Grand Priest's voice echoed suddenly, calm but deadly. "I pitied you, Vegeta. You spoke with so much bluster and determination, believing you would destroy my system, yet you didn't even realize you were fighting an illusion. You couldn't even sense my true power, nor my real body. Isn't that disappointing, Vegeta? You've brought shame upon yourself, and no one will trust you anymore." Vegeta exploded in furious rage, his voice slicing through the air. "All of that doesn't matter. Shut up, you wretch! Your tricks don't mean you've won. This escape of yours means only one thing to me, that you're afraid to face me." The Grand Priest replied, "Allow me to explain, Vegeta. You must first purge the darkness within yourself, defeat it. Then we can talk." Vegeta didn't understand what he meant, but he had no time to think. Suddenly, from behind, something attacked him with lightning speed and stabbed him through the back. Vegeta screamed in a broken voice, "Impossible! What is happening?" A strange creature appeared, manifested from the fallen illusion of the Grand Priest. Demonic, resembling Vegeta somewhat, but darker and more sinister. It lunged at Vegeta from behind, stabbing him with a powerful strike. Blood poured down his back as he fell to his knees. The echo of pain mixed with his ragged breaths as shock spread across everyone's faces. Bulma covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. His daughter Bulla couldn't even look at the scene. Trunks cried out in disbelief,
"Father, no, impossible! He just begun! I'm afraid he'll be lost to us the same way we lost Goku!"
Behind Vegeta stood a creature with his exact form. The demon smiled and said in a deep, hellish voice, "Vegeta, you gave me life. With your blood, your wickedness, your rage. Your blood flows in me now, and I can smell the fear in it. How delicious it is." Vegeta lifted his head with difficulty, blood dripping down his face, and said weakly, "Who are you? How did you appear, you damned thing?"
The demon laughed madly. "Ha ha ha ha! I am you, and you are me. I am the face you tried to bury. I am the rage you suffocated, the hatred you ignored, the pride that nearly destroyed you. I exist because of you, Vegeta, and I am here to devour you." The Grand Priest said, "Do you see now, Vegeta? I told you, you hadn't purified yourself, and here your inner wickedness turns into a monster that steals your life. Betraying a sacred being like me cannot be forgiven. You believed that power alone brings purification, but power without purity gives birth only to destruction. It is unfortunate that your end will come by your own hand." At that moment, the demon plunged its claws into Vegeta's back. He whispered in a voice as faint as death, "I won't leave you. You and I are one. If I don't consume you, you will consume me. But the difference is, I savor suffering, while you fear it." Vegeta collapsed and fell to the ground. The demon laughed with deathly hysteria as everything suddenly turned against Vegeta. He had lost everything, his absolute confidence crumbling before his eyes. In the stands, Trunks was devastated. His father had been gone from his life for 10 long years, and now he didn't even get the chance to hug him after Vegeta had returned in a mysterious disguise. Suddenly, the stands shook with the boy's fury, and he unleashed a scream that could tear the heart of anyone who heard it. His rage exploded, and he soared into the sky, manifesting his ultimate transformation. Vegeta saw his son and said with a trembling voice,
Please, Trunks, stay back. I don't want to lose anyone from my family. Stay back, please.
Trunks gathered an enormous amount of energy, his nerves exploding, his heart overflowing with rage and pain. Then he unleashed a massive attack toward the demon. The ground shook from the force of the strike. The air ignited around him, and a wave of energy exploded, causing massive destruction throughout the area. Dust and ash filled the battlefield, yet the dark demon did not move from his spot. He stood, smiling, savoring the blood across his face, then said with a wicked grin, "Well now, I didn't expect another feast to be served to me. Let's see how this boy tastes as well." Suddenly, the demon shot forward at rocket speed, faster than anyone could perceive, and delivered a lethal strike to Trunks. The boy couldn't dodge it. He was pierced, a deadly impalement. Blood poured from his body, and agony consumed him entirely. The demon said mockingly, "Good. Your blood isn't bad. At least, thanks for offering me a substitute dish." Trunks fell from the sky like a lifeless corpse, crashing into the ground with a thunderous impact. The stands went silent. Bulma screamed in heartbreak. Vegeta screamed at the top of his voice as he watched his son dying before his very eyes. Trunks spoke in a broken, fainting voice as he uttered his last words. "Forgive me, Father. I couldn't protect the Earth in the beginning. Forgive me for not trying hard enough, for not defending you. When we hoped Goku would save the Earth, I saw how Gohan felt after losing his father. It reminded me of the pain of separation. But when I saw you, I felt life bloom again. Joy returned to my heart. Father, never let the darkness control you. Even if you're angry, always remember who you are and who we are." Then he closed his eyes and passed away. His words heavily weighed on Vegeta's heart. Vegeta spoke in a voice torn apart by agony.
Why did you leave us, Trunks? 10 years I endured torture to protect my family. to protect this existence from an unjust system. How wicked was I? But I will rid myself of this evil. I will purge every trace of darkness inside me, and I will face everything.
The air trembled around him, a furious aura radiating from his body, his eyes shining. Vegeta charged his energy, the pure strength born from his heart, mixed with rage and sorrow, and unleashed it at unimaginable speed toward the demon. The demon stood firm, exposing himself to a force spreading across everything. Vegeta increased his power, and in a moment of colossal explosion, the entire arena ignited. Light, dust, and a violent burst of energy consuming everything. The place turned into a field of catastrophic chaos. This was no longer just about physical clash, but about the clash of the self and its corruption, between a shattered father and the demon that embodied all the darkness that had seeped into his heart. Vegeta had purged the darkness within him, but the moment left a deep scar on his soul. Vegeta stood, his hands stained with the demon's blood. He breathed deeply and whispered to himself, softly, but with profound emotion.
Thank you, Trunks. Enduring your loss is unbearable, but you left behind something greater, something that will change the course of everything. I understand now. My previous intentions weakened me. I was selfish. I fought for a title, for a personal goal. Kakarot, you never fought for yourself, but for what you loved, for the ones you lost. You fought with a noble heart. That's what kept you strong. And that is the lesson you've given me.
Vegeta began walking toward the Grand Priest with steady steps. The Grand Priest gazed at him in astonishment. He did not expect Vegeta to still be resolute after all the destruction and shock. As Vegeta walked, he whispered, "Purity of heart, clarity of intention. That is what allows us to light the path to the very end, no matter the enemy." Suddenly, Vegeta dashed forward at incredible speed, faster than ever before, and delivered a clean, powerful strike to the Grand Priest. This time, it wasn't an illusion or trick. It was a shocking reality. The blow sent the Grand Priest flying. Vegeta raised his head and whispered, "My soul was cleansed, thanks to you, my son." In the blink of an eye, Vegeta launched himself again, rushing toward the Grand Priest until they were face to face, locked in an unbelievable clash. Punches were exchanged at superhuman speed, each strike echoing so hard it shook the entire arena. The friends in the stands watched in pure disbelief. Whis spoke in a soft, yet emotionally touched voice. "It seems the influence of his son has elevated his power tremendously, just like what happened with Goku. Goku's goal from the beginning was to avenge his son Goten. Vegeta trained brutally, but he never knew how to awaken his power wisely. He learned advanced self-healing techniques which allowed him to rise again, but this time with a purer and clearer heart. At that moment, Vegeta unleashed his full might. A massive aura swirled around him. Then he released a wave of energy toward the Grand Priest. The entire place erupted, dust, smoke, and ash filling the air. When the dust finally settled, the attack had left a clear mark on the Grand Priest for the first time. His clothes were dirtied, something he had never experienced before. Yet the Grand Priest smiled. "Congratulations, Vegeta. It's good that you've started purifying yourself at last. Your resolve has begun to bear fruit, but this will not last until the end." The Grand Priest raised his hand and moved only a tiny portion of his power, not even more than 5% of his full strength. Then he dashed forward and struck Vegeta with a lightning-like blow. Vegeta crashed to the ground once again. The Grand Priest ordered the guards to seize Vegeta. They closed in from all sides and held him tightly, while the Grand Priest delivered punch after punch, merciless strikes, as if his goal was not just to kill Vegeta, but to torture him as brutally as possible. The Grand Priest said loudly, with terrifying calm, "You are the first being in millions of years to force me to use even a fraction of my power. Consider it an honor. After your death, Vegeta, no one else will matter. I will erase everything. This planet does not deserve to exist." While Vegeta was at his weakest, hanging on the edge of death, a sudden hysterical laughter echoed, drawing everyone's attention. Even the Grand Priest's eyes widened in surprise. Vegeta said in a broken voice, "No one will matter to you after me? You made me laugh, Grand Priest." The Grand Priest frowned in confusion, but Vegeta continued, "Let me tell you something. Someone will return, and he will strip you of your position. Someone who will come from where you least expect. It's Kakarot." The friends were shocked the moment Vegeta mentioned Goku's name. Vegeta continued in a faint voice, "Haven't you noticed, Grand Priest? From the beginning, Kakarot always surpassed expectations, always broke through his limits. Even when everyone believed the end had come, he stopped being an ordinary person long ago. I watched him from the beginning, and he made me hungry to fight him. Even after his death, that wasn't the end of the story for me. His presence is still here, even if he seems erased from existence." The Grand Priest grew furious and struck Vegeta with a powerful punch, silencing him temporarily as he fell to the ground. The Grand Priest roared, "You fools! You believe in illusions, even after being certain of your end!"
Vegeta was under immense pressure, yet with patience and certainty, he slowly raised his hand while lying on the ground. A small energy beam shot from his palm and headed directly toward Gohan. No one understood what it meant, but Vegeta whispered to himself in a broken voice, "Rise now and continue. I've learned the meaning of sacrificing for others. True strength isn't measured by what we lose, but by what we protect." The Grand Priest ignored it and raised his hand, his intention clear. He was going to end Vegeta permanently. But what happened next, no one expected. A devastating strike suddenly hit the Grand Priest, launching him away with unimaginable speed. Dust shot into the air, the atmosphere trembled from the impact, and everyone stood in a tense silence, uncertain of what they'd just witnessed. Then, the veil lifted, revealing the royal creation, the being the Grand Priest had engineered. He stood before everyone, holding the energy blade in his hand. You tampered with my memory. You polluted my roots. You made me believe I was born without a past, without meaning. You exploited me, shaped me into your sword, and buried the truth from me. I will not let you escape, not until you speak it." The Grand Priest let out a cold laugh, a void-like emptiness behind it. "Too late. Everything has ended. And you think you deserve the truth? If not for me, you wouldn't even be standing before me. And now, after daring to oppose me, very well, your existence has been defiled long enough. It's time to close your chapter." The royal creation lunged forward with a savage strike, but the Grand Priest vanished for an instant and reappeared behind him. The blade was between his fingers, plucked effortlessly from the royal creation's grip. He raised his other hand and released a deadly spiritual blast that pierced through the creature's chest. A muffled scream. Then the royal creation collapsed, like a puppet with its strings severed. The Grand Priest walked toward him slowly,
the glowing blade in his hand, and said with cosmic contempt, "How ironic that your existence will end by the very sword created to give you identity. A weapon born to define you will now erase you." He lifted the sword toward the sky, but before the strike was completed, suddenly, a light beyond description tore the heavens apart. A radiant explosion descended like divine lightning, shaking the world to its core. The Grand Priest froze. Everyone froze. Time itself stopped. Everyone lifted their eyes, waiting for the truth. Inside the divine light, a celestial figure began to emerge, descending slowly, as if coming from a realm beyond names. Every eye widened, every whisper died, and as his feet touched the ground, every heart exploded with shock. He had returned. The one they thought had left without farewell, the one they believed had been lost forever, the one whose death signaled the end of all hope. It was Goku, but not the Goku they knew. Goku in a divine, celestial form. His energy wasn't energy, it was light itself, given shape. His features carried the mark of the necklace given by Zeno's mother, a relic no one imagined would reshape his essence entirely. His body radiated golden white light. His hair glowed like the first spark of dawn. His eyes held the calm of entire universes. And beside him shimmered two luminous spirits, seeds planted in his heart. The reason he could stand, the reason he returned. Everyone stood frozen. Gohan, lying on the ground, staring silently, his face torn between shock, longing, and tears. Before him stood something beyond comprehension. Goku approached with steady steps, placed his hand gently on Gohan's head, and gave a brief, soft pat, as if saying, "I'm here, don't be afraid." Gohan froze. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't understand it. He couldn't even speak. Goku continued walking. He passed by Zeno and his guards. Their eyes widened to the brink of terror. Zeno couldn't understand. He couldn't interpret this presence. He couldn't even raise his hand. Then Goku reached Vegeta. Vegeta, lying on the ground, opened his eyes with difficulty. But when he saw Goku standing before him, glowing with undeniable divinity, he smiled. The smile of a man who'd been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Vegeta said, in a broken but proud voice, "I knew it. I knew you would return. You've proven to everyone that Saiyans should never be underestimated when they understand the true meaning of sacrifice." Goku nodded lightly and said, "I heard everything, Vegeta. I heard your patience, your loyalty, your burden, and thank you for saving my son, and thank you for carrying what no one should have carried alone." Goku placed his hands on Vegeta, and with a single touch, Vegeta was rejuvenated. Then Goku moved forward, while everyone around him remained speechless. He stopped before the royal creation. Goku looked at him with an impossibly deep gaze, as if seeing through his very existence. "Inside you lies a secret, one the Grand Priest buried, something we still don't understand." He stepped closer, placed his hand over his chest, and said, "Your end has not come, because your truth has not begun." The royal creation's entire body glowed, and he was fully revived. When the Grand Priest witnessed this, his eyes widened with a shock he couldn't hide. Goku advanced toward him, calm, cold, steady. Everyone held their breath, waiting. Goku approached until he stood directly in front of the Grand Priest. The Grand Priest stared at him, disbelieving. How had this being returned? There was no explanation. Goku slowly lifted his hand,
and grabbed the Grand Priest's chin, as if holding a child who had no idea what he was doing. The Grand Priest tensed. Should he attack? Retreat? Disappear? He knew nothing. Goku looked at him with lethal seriousness and said in a low but piercing voice, "Prepare yourself, Grand Priest, because the light you see now is the last thing you will ever see."